The shambling undead have been used as social satire, escapist fun, and to scare the pants off the living. But isn't it about time we gave back to the walking corpses who have made us so happy over the years? Today on Graveyard Shift Ranked, we are counting down the best zombie games of all time, as voted on by you, the viewer. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to Graveyard Shift to stay up to date on all your horror needs. Number 10. The Walking Dead. Starting in 2012, Telltale ostensibly reinvented the landscape of zombie games with their Walking Dead. The long-running series has been awarded accolades rivaling almost any mainstream game series. We could spend this whole entry discussing the series as a whole, but we're going to focus on the first game, or The Walking Dead Season 1, as it's more commonly referred to. Unlike most games that are licensed by a comic book adapted TV show, the Telltale series takes place in the same apocalyptic, zombie-overrun universe as the comic book. It follows a college professor and convicted criminal, Lee Everett, as he rescues a young girl named Clementine. And from there, well, without spoiling stuff, they do some pretty iconic zombie fighting. Number 9. Dead Space. Dead Space centers on a spacefaring vessel intended for mining being overrun by homicidal creatures nicknamed necromorphs. The story follows Isaac Clarke as he makes his way through the craft, attempting to remain sane while fighting off these undead space creatures. The game has been lauded for how deeply immersive it is. Developed by EA Redwood Shores, the game involves many environmental puzzles, locating ammunition, and chapter-based narrative sequences. Number 8. Dead Island. Released in 2011, Dead Island is an open-world zombie game with emphasis placed on melee combat. The game focuses on 4 survivors as they attempt to escape the island of Benoit. The game is loosely inspired by the Lucio Fulci film Zombie 2. Despite being announced 5 years before its release, Dead Island has developed quite a cult following. The game has been praised for its narrative atmosphere, gameplay, and inventive scenario implementation. Number 7. Last of Us. Developed by Naughty Dog, Last of Us is a third-person horror game where you attempt to survive a wasteland populated by bloodthirsty fungus-controlled humans. Since its release, Last of Us has become one of the highest-selling games of all time, pulling in $17 million in April of 2018 and selling over 1.3 million copies in its first week of release. To say it's fully earned its spot on the top of our list would be an understatement. Number 6. Resident Evil 4. Unlike some of the previous entries in this list, Resident Evil 4 is a third-person shooter. It features loads of action and gore. We follow Special Agent Leon Kennedy and the President's daughter, Ashley Graham, as they attempt to escape from an expansive patch of rural European countryside, which has been overrun by villagers infected by mind-controlling parasites. The game was developed by Capcom and is the 6th entry in their long-running Resident Evil series. Today, it's looked back on as one of the strongest entries into the franchise. The departure from the standard format of fixed camera angles and survival horror into more dynamic shooting games was accepted with open arms by fans, so much so that it's even been remade a few times. Number 5. Resident Evil. Released in 1996, the initial Resident Evil game, put out on PlayStation, was originally issued under the name Biohazard in Japan. It's hard to cast your mind back to 1996, but if you could, you'll remember that survival horror wasn't even a genre that had a name. Oh, sure, there were other games that used the mechanics and narrative staples that we associate with the genre, but Resident Evil was the first game to officially coin the term. It's still wildly popular to this day. Number 4. Left 4 Dead. Released in 2008, Left 4 Dead is a multiplayer survival horror game in which the players battle zombies. The game follows 4 survivors as they attempt to make their way through the rapidly crumbling world. On its release, the game was heralded for its dynamic film-esque playability and its high level of replayability. To put it simply, it's just really fun to kill zombies, which is what this game's reason for being is. And thank goodness, what would we even do if we couldn't just kill zombies indiscriminately? Probably play another one of the games on this list. Number 3. Resident Evil 2. Released in 1998, Resident Evil 2 follows Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield as they attempt to escape from Raccoon City. They race against the clock and the undead in their frantic quest for survival. This game is arguably the most beloved of all Resident Evil entries. It's looked upon as the perfect horror game in many ways. The game is so beloved that it was remade in 2019 and released on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows. Number 2. Dying Light. 2015 saw the release of Dying Light, a survival horror game that follows Kyle Crane, an undercover agent who is sent to infiltrate a quarantine area in the Middle East. It's an open-world game that revolves around a day-to-night cycle. The living dead that you contend with are clumsy and easy to dispatch during the day, but at night become aggressive and much more powerful. Upon release, the game was heaped with praise. Critics loved the combat system, graphics, and co-op mode. The linchpin of the game, though, for both players and critics, was the day-to-night game mechanic. Everyone loved it, saying that it ratcheted up tension and made the game much more immersive. Number 1. Left 4 Dead 2. Set during the aftermath of a deadly pandemic, Left 4 Dead 2 centers on a team of new survivors who must fight off legions of the undead. The game is played cooperatively and builds on the mechanics and game layout established in the initial entry. Before the game was released, it had a large controversy surrounding it due to the graphic nature of its violence. In fact, in Australia, the game could not be released until a modified version of it was created. However, the hyper-violence is what set it apart from its contemporaries and made it such a long-lasting classic. And there you have it. Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. And please check back next time to find out what other ghostly things need to be ranked.